Hi everyone, I am Sean from Bid4Assets. Bid4Assets hosts two different types of auctions for the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office: tax foreclosure auctions and mortgage foreclosure auctions. In this video, we will be covering how to participate in tax delinquent and tax lien auctions. An additional video covering mortgage foreclosure auction procedures will be available in the description below. The first thing you'll need to do to participate in these or in any of the auctions available on Bid4Assets is register for a free Bid4Assets account if you haven't done so already. There are no monthly fees required to maintain your account. It is completely free, and the registration process should only take a few minutes. To begin, you'll want to go to the top navigation bar here on Bid4Assets and select Sign Up. From there, you'll be prompted to provide an email address and to create a password. That password will be what you use to log into your Bid4Assets account, as well as confirm bids. So be sure to make it something that you feel confident you'll remember. From there, you'll need to provide some basic contact information, confirm your phone number, and finally log in to your email account and confirm the email address that you've placed on file to complete the registration. Bid4Assets has a video walking you through every step of this process, and you can access that video by going to bid4assets.com/videos. You'll see we've got many videos here walking you through the various steps of a Bid4Assets auction, including how to register for an account. Once you've created your account, the next thing that you'll want to do is go to the relevant landing page for the Philadelphia Sheriff Sale that you are interested in. You can do this in a few ways, depending on if you're trying to access tax foreclosure auctions, mortgage foreclosure auctions, or both. The quickest way to access both types of sale from the Bid4Assets homepage is to go over here towards the left underneath of the specialty channels and select Philadelphia Sheriff Sales. Doing this will bring you to this landing page displaying a message from Philadelphia Sheriff Rochelle below. Below that, you'll find the option to select either tax foreclosure auctions or mortgage foreclosure auctions. For this video, we are taking a look at tax foreclosure auctions, so we'll go ahead and we'll select that option. This will bring you to the sales main landing page. And the first thing I want to direct your attention to here is the display up top, which says sales date. Philadelphia County will typically host 4 tax foreclosure sales of various types on Bid4Assets throughout the month. And selecting this sales date tab will display a list of currently upcoming dates for sale. Right now, we only have October 8th. But selecting that date will display a list of properties that are scheduled to go to auction on that date, in this case, October 8th. Once you've selected the auction date that you want to view properties for, you can navigate through the list using the arrows at the bottom of this section, which will take you from page to page. You might see that some auctions will be displayed as stayed or postponed. An auction that's been stayed has been canceled, while an auction that's been postponed is scheduled to move forward at a later date. If you check the Show Available Auctions Only box here in the top left-hand corner, it will ensure that you only see auctions that are still scheduled to move forward as you navigate the list. See, I checked it, the list was unchanged. All of these properties are still scheduled to move forward with their sale. To the right of the property list, you'll see that you can search property by book/writ, by OPA, by auction ID, or by keyword. So if you were looking for a keyword, for example, for a particular property on Main Street, you could enter the word Main into the keyword search box, and it would filter down to only show auctions which contain that word. Another way to quickly view lists of properties available for any given sale date is to download them as an Excel spreadsheet. You can do this by going to the Download Property List display here next to the Sales Date tab. Select that, make sure that you're logged into your Bid4Assets account, and you will be able to download a property list. Once again, you can click Show Available Auctions Only to ensure that you only see auctions that are still scheduled to move forward. Remove any auctions that have been stayed or postponed from the list when you download it, which I will do now. And you'll see here that the spreadsheet gives you lots of useful information. It gives you the property's address when it can. It gives you the property's auction ID number, the attorney's office representing the property, all very useful information to have when performing your due diligence ahead of the auction. Now let's go back to the auction's main page and talk a little bit about deposits. All Philadelphia sheriff sale auctions will require a deposit to qualify for participation. When submitting a deposit, keep in mind that each auction date is going to be treated as its own event. So if you wanted to participate in Philadelphia's October 8th tax sale, then sending in a single bid deposit would qualify you to bid on every single property being auctioned on October 8th. However, if you then wanted to bid on auctions in a later sale date, you would need to submit a new bid deposit for that new sale date. So the rule is one deposit for one sale date, but that deposit allows you to bid on every single auction opening on that sale date. Another thing to note is that if you submit a deposit, but you end up either not bidding or not winning any property, you will have the option to transfer that deposit over to Philadelphia's next tax sale. You can do this after the auction directly from your Bid4Assets account by going to the My Bid Deposits section. So how do you actually submit a deposit? Well, deposits should be sent directly to Bid4Assets, and there are two methods available for you to do this. They are certified check and wire transfer. To get started, just go to the auction page for a property that you would like to bid on. And one of the first things that you'll see is an orange button that reads, click here for deposit instructions. Select that, it'll get you started on the deposits process. Keep in mind, you'll want to be logged into your account once again when you do this. Now, before you can obtain instructions for submitting your deposit, note that you'll be prompted to provide your Social Security number in compliance with the U.S. Patriot Act if it's your first time submitting a deposit with Bid4Assets. After that, you will be prompted to provide pre-vesting information detailing how you'd like any potential property that you've won to be titled. Once Bid4Assets receives your deposit, it will be processed and you will be notified via email and in your Bid4Assets message center once you've been cleared to bid. Something to keep in mind is that Bid4Assets has a video walking you through every step of this process as well. Going into a lot more detail, you can access that by going to bid4assets.com/videos once again. Now, if you win an auction, your deposit will be applied to your final payment. But if you don't, as I mentioned before, you will have the option to transfer it over to Philadelphia's next sale. If you choose not to do this, then your deposit will be refunded to you via a principal e-check that will come to the email address linked to your Bid4Assets account within 10 business days after the auctions close. Now let's take a closer look at an individual auction page from one of these sheriff sale properties and talk a little bit about due diligence. The auction page provides any information that the sheriff's office can provide to assist you with your due diligence. Neither the sheriff's office nor Bid4Assets will have any additional information on the condition or value of a property, including whether the property is free of any liens. It is very important that you complete your own due diligence before bidding on the property, including researching any relevant information on the property's title status. Both the sheriff's office and Bid4Assets would recommend that you consult with an attorney before purchasing property from a sheriff's sale. Bid4Assets CEO led a webinar on how to research tax sale properties, which includes a lot of helpful tips and resources to take advantage of. You can find that webinar once again by going to bid4assets.com/videos. Notice it here on the page, Due Diligence, a guide to researching tax sale properties with Bid4Assets CEO. Again, that's a great resource that we recommend taking advantage of. Back on the landing page, something that you might have noticed is that many of the available properties say pending in regards to their minimum bid. In fact, this one says awaiting minimum bid. So why is this? The reason is that Philadelphia County actually hosts different types of tax foreclosure sales. Tax collection sales are often associated with a couple of law firms that support the Philadelphia sheriff, and they need to calculate the minimum bids closer to the auction date. For tax delinquent property sales, the minimum bids will always be cited at $1,600, but amounts can vary for other types of tax sales. Keep in mind when researching property and thinking about the minimum bid, you should ideally try to already know the maximum amount that you are willing to bid on a property before it opens. This is a vital part of preparing for a public auction, and it's one of the reasons that individual research is so important when you are participating in sales of this type. So once the auction opens, you can go in and start bidding. You can do this in one of two ways. You can either bid along in small increments of $100 in the case of this tax foreclosure sale, or you can go in and place a minimum bid for the maximum amount that you are willing to pay for a property, and let that serve as your proxy bid. In that case, a Bid4Assets automated system would bid up to that maximum amount on your behalf. Our system will ensure that you do not need to bid more than is necessary to beat the second highest bidder by one bid increment. In other words, placing your proxy bid is similar to having a number in your head when you go to a live auction, and the system will bid up to that amount on your behalf, but not over it. So with all of that in mind, let's talk a little bit about some post-auction procedures and settlement terms. And auction settlement terms outline the amount of funds due and the timelines for payment in an auction. Settlement terms will be accessible both on the sales general landing page and on every individual auction page. You'll find them here towards the bottom underneath settlement requirements. We strongly encourage you to familiarize yourself with the settlement terms, as you must have the funds available to meet the payment timelines outlined in them, or you will be in default and forfeit your deposit. Another function to be aware of during the post-sale procedures is the bidder on deck system. So here's how that works. Should the winning bidder for an auction not pay the remaining balance due on it the day after the sale, they would be considered in default. On the following day, so the third day after the sale, the next highest bidder in the auction, or the bidder on deck, will be notified that they have an offer to become the winning bidder. The bidder on deck will then have 24 hours to accept that offer. If they accept, they will have 15 days from the date of the acceptance to pay the total balance due on the property. When every auction in the sale closes, then you will be notified whether you have won any of the auctions where you placed a bid. If you still haven't received a post-auction email, when the property that you've been bidding on has closed and you feel you've won, it's likely that the bidding or the second bidder timeframes have not fully expired yet. The overtime has not fully expired yet. See, every auction will have an overtime period of 5 minutes. What this means is that when the auction closes, if bidding is still going on, our system will default to a 5-minute overtime, extending the bidding for that period. If somebody bids during that overtime period, it will extend for another 5 minutes, and it'll continue to do so until 5 minutes pass and nobody has placed a bid. At that point, whoever the high bidder is will wind up winning the property. So if your auction is closed, you feel that you've won, you haven't gotten your post-auction email yet, keep in mind that there's likely other auctions that are still in their overtime period. And all of those will need to close before post-auction email alerts can go out. Now, if you don't win any auctions, then no action will be required on your part unless you want to roll over your deposit. As previously stated, you can do that from your Bid4Assets account by visiting the My Bid Deposits section. Now, winning bidders will have to fund the remainder of 10% of their winning bid, plus Bid4Assets 10% buyer's premium by the close of business the day after the auction. Your post-auction email will break down this amount for you in detail and provide you with wiring instructions for Bid4Assets escrow account. This will also be true of bidders who wind up receiving a bidder on deck offer, but keep in mind those won't be going out until the 3rd day after the auction closes if any bidders are in default. Winning bidders will then have 15 days from the auction's close date to fund, again, the remainder of their balance due. Now, if you have won auctions, then you will also be able to access Bid4Assets Deed Wizard tool. Deed Wizard will both allow you to provide additional vesting information on any property that you've won and display settlement instructions to begin payment. If you want to change information from where it was in your pre-vesting information when submitting your deposit, please contact the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office directly for assistance with doing so. Once Bid4Assets receives settlement funds and deed vesting or titling information from all winning bidders, it will all be sent to the county, and at that point, the county will begin recording your deed to complete the sale. So to recap some key points. To participate in a tax foreclosure auction with the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office on Bid4Assets, you're going to want to take the following steps. 1, register a free Bid4Assets account. 2, visit the Philadelphia County Sheriff Sale landing page on Bid4Assets and select tax foreclosure sales. Then select the date of the auction you wish to bid in. 3, obtain deposit instructions for the auction or auctions that you wish to bid on. Remember that 1 deposit will qualify you to bid on an entire sale and all of the properties available in it. 4, thoroughly research the properties that you intend to bid on and place your bids when the auctions open. Additionally, read the auction's terms of sale and settlement terms ahead of time. And be sure that you have the funds ready to complete the sale on any auction that you win. Finally, 5, if you are a successful bidder, follow the instructions in your post-auction email to complete settlement. Remember that sheriff sale auctions and public auctions in general can be complex transactions. So do your due diligence prior to bidding and consult with an attorney ahead of the sale. Bid4Assets is always here to help with live customer service over 40 hours a week. So please feel free to reach out to us by going to bid4assets.com/contact. You can also obtain our contact information by going back to the top navigation bar and selecting the Contact Us tab. That will provide you with our customer service team's email address and our phone number. We encourage you, again, reach out to us at any time. Until then, we hope this video was helpful for you, and we wish you the best of luck in your next auction on Bid4Assets. Take care.